What's up? Welcome into today's episode of Pushing the Pile. The show is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Mike Renner, Kyle Long, JP Acosta, as always. And fellas, I woke up this morning, took the dog out, looked at my phone, 49 degrees. I was in heaven. I know you guys are in Florida, but it felt like, like mid-season NFL, just getting the weekend of college football ahead. I know NFL is not quite here yet, but just having this full weekend of college football with some of these games on tap, you just feel it in the air.
Step outside, your feet crunch on those leaves that have just, come off the tree. You get that smell in the air. Somebody's cooking chili. Some crazy lady down the street's already got her pumpkins out. We're here, baby. It's football season. Let's do this thing.
They got the Halloween decor and the football decor up in every apartment store in the area. My girlfriend's already planning for all the Halloween stuff that we're gonna get. It's football season, baby.
The months of sweating just from walking around outside, it's over. We're back. It's football season.
I'll be at Lambeau next week on Sunday. By the way, really quick, we didn't have this in our show.
That to me on the show here
in our show plan, but I'll break some news here. So I've had to be quiet about this for a while. I was part of Tops for 5 years, I want to say. Great show. It was a 13-year running show. Obviously, Tops is no longer going to be happening on Sundays for CBS. We're going more digital. We're going more boots on the ground. So Matt Ryan, Antonio Pierce, myself are going to be hosted by Amanda Guerra every Sunday, 10 to noon Eastern, starting week 1, kicking off coverage at Lambeau Field. Rumor has it there could be a Lambeau Leap involved. Maybe some arguments with some fans in the crowd, just stuff that's right up my alley. And we think that for those of you at home, it'll be right up yours. It'll be casual. I'm going to be sweating probably, but thanks to Mike's update on the weather, maybe not too much. It's going to be awesome. There's your update. NFL Today Plus, 10 to noon every Sunday. Okay, shameless plug.
I didn't know it was boots on the ground.
Awesome.
So NFL Today travels for primetime weeks. Okay. I'm talking Kansas City, Buffalo. I'm talking obviously Detroit and Green Bay. Whenever Matt Ryan's traveling with the NFL Today, he's on our show too. So logistically, we've got to make this thing happen. We're going to be right there with them, and we're going to be handing the ball off to them to get you guys kicked off on the pregame NFL Today, which is the best in the business.
That's sick. I saw Antonio Pierce is on the show. I talked to him at the Combine one year at like 2 a.m. Can't remember what I said, but
that tracks. Guys.
And dude, when you're in Green Bay, my parents are like 2 blocks away from the stadium. They're right behind Kroll's, the bar there. Make sure to go stop in, say hi, say what's up to them. They'll be parking cars as they do every Sunday. So yeah, check it out.
AP said that Lambeau and the Green Bay fans took care of his family as well as anybody in the National Football League. And I don't want to step on his turf here because I think he might be talking about this next week. But he said some things that you guys are going to want to hear. You wouldn't hear usually from a former player of another team, a coach of another team.
Pierce, man. All right. Today's show, jam-packed episode. First off the ball, we got Kyle Hamilton's extension. We got Rashee Rice's suspension. And then after that, we are predicting the awards. We did this a little bit early on the season, but we're not only predicting the major awards, we're going to hand out some of our own awards towards the end of the show and then get into the college football slate right at the end. But let's start with this. Kyle Hamilton, record highest paid safety in the NFL now, 4 years, $100 million. And this just feels like good business. This is what good teams do, right? They don't do the Micah Parsons thing. They do exactly what this is.
Smart teams don't wait. And the Ravens have shown that they are willing to pay their guys who are at the top of the league at their positions high values of money, especially early in their career. Kyle Hamilton is a phenomenal player. In fact, you could tell the difference in how the Ravens play when Kyle Hamilton's on the field versus off the field. They moved him from that star overhang position to more of a deep safety, and that defense flipped completely on its head in the second half of the season. That was part of their defensive turnaround. He is their enforcer. He is one of their team leaders. This is somebody that we all knew coming out of Notre Dame, this was going to be a legitimate dude in the NFL, and he's done nothing else but prove that.
Yeah, there's a reason this Ravens staff has been the same since I was in like Little League baseball, okay? Because they make smart decisions. And like you said, pay your good players early because they only get more expensive. And I think one great thing about the Baltimore Ravens, they have found a way to get the right guys in the building. They find a way to develop these guys. And the next thing you know, they're up for big contracts. And there is no gray area. It's like we brought them here to develop them. We developed them to sign them. We signed them to play. They play to win. That's what the Ravens do. Kyle Hamilton's a perfect example of that.
I put a lot of stock to go back to like Kyle Hamilton from a scouting perspective because, in the draft, everyone wanted to talk about 4.59 that he ran. It's like, obviously, I don't think anyone cares at this point. But I put a lot of stock in guys who true freshman year in college are already good players. Dexter Lawrence, true freshman year, was a monster. Kyle Hamilton, true freshman year. Jalen Ramsey, true freshman year. Like the guys who come into college straight out of high school and already show that they belong. To me, that's a great indicator of just natural ability, of just what that guy is going to be. And so you could pick all the holes in his game that you wanted to at Notre Dame by the end and all the holes in his athletic profile. That guy belonged from day one in college. He belonged from day one in the NFL. He is the best safety. And for the Baltimore Ravens, with his versatility, what he's capable of, the fact that he can just go from the slot to deep and be elite at both of those, anything you ask him to, could be a linebacker if you wanted him to. Really a no-brainer. And yeah, he sets the market by almost $4 million more per year than anyone else. But it's like the safety market's so depressed. $25 million is less than, mid-tier offensive tackles are getting at this point. So truly a no-brainer in my eyes.
He's one of the few guys, one of the few body types that, as an offensive lineman at all three levels of the defense, if he were to be on any one of those three levels, I would have my antenna up for him because he's got that rare body style that, like Theo Vaughn always says, I got a rare body style. Well, this guy's got a rare body style, and he can do a lot of things. Cam Chancellor's a guy that I think about. My rookie or second year, we went up to Seattle, and just seeing that guy on the field was like the film doesn't do it justice how big these guys are and how well they move and how rangy they are. The physicality on top of that, the defense that he plays in, this just is like it's a home run for everybody.
I have a really dumb take, just to wrap a bow on this. I think that Isaiah Simmons is the reason that Kyle Hamilton is a Raven. Because Isaiah Simmons, he went 8th overall. And he was like the same body style, similar body style, 6'4", bigger, 230s, played safety at Clemson. And everyone's like, what's he going to be in the NFL? How is that going to look? And I think if you watch their tape, you're objectively like, okay, that's crazy to make the comparison. But I think in NFL evaluators' eyes, like sometimes they make decisions that don't necessarily track logically. And they saw that he was this massive bust for the Cardinals. 2 years later, Kyle Hamilton's coming here. 3 years later, Kyle Hamilton's coming out. I think a lot of people in the top 10 are like, I don't want to be the next guy to draft this safety who looks nothing like any other safety in the NFL. And then it turns out to not be good. So maybe a little bit of a dumb theory, but it's happened before. All right. The other bit of news here, Rashee Rice accepts his 6-game suspension. There was talk about it would be delayed because of his, arraignment being delayed or trial date being delayed. No, he's going to be missing the first 6 games of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs. From like a timing perspective, obviously, not putting aside what he did, but like from a time perspective, this is probably your best case scenario if you're the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I think with the first 6 games, it's going to be a tough schedule through the first 6. They have the Chargers, Eagles, Giants, Ravens, Jags, and Lions, which isn't like a cakewalk. But if you're able to get him towards the back end of the season, if you're able to get him ramped up as you get into the playoffs, that's much better than waiting for the trial date to happen, and then the suspension kicks in right in the middle of the season.
I just look back to last year and the connection that we saw from Patrick and Rashee Rice early on in the season, and it felt to me like it was a true QB1, WR1 combo. And obviously it didn't get to do the whole season like that, and Patrick had to rely on other guys, and they were bringing younger receivers along. I think the benefit, obviously, of not having him at the beginning of the season rather than later in the season is that you continue to build on those relationships with Patrick Mahomes and his receivers. And I think you continue to see Patrick grow more confident in the protection that Brett Veach has brought into the building. This Simmons pick is going to change the blueprint of this offense. You're going to see Travis Kelce have more time to go in that scramble drill. You're going to see Patrick Mahomes going down the field, downtown Julie Brown, as Matt Nagy likes to say, because you've got that blindside protector, and Patrick can see what's in front of him at the right tackle, so he can improvise with his lower half, all while maintaining the intention to throw it down the field. That's where the Chiefs are the most dangerous. They can run the football on first down. They've got the interior offensive line that still kicks ass. And now they've got that mute button at the left tackle, in my opinion. Not in everybody's opinion, but in my opinion. And it makes that offense as dangerous as we once remember.
I would say this. One, we never really got to see the Chiefs offense in full last year with what Rashee Rice could do. But I watched Xavier Worthy this preseason, and I was terrified because he looks like he's taken another step forward. And obviously he almost went for 1,000 yards last year, but this guy, when they draft him, they traded up with the Bills, and everyone's like, how'd you let him get Xavier Worthy? I actually kind of feel like that now. I'm like, shit, this is going to be easily the best weapon since they traded Tyreek Hill. Far and away the best weapons. Like, this Chiefs offense should be back to or close to those levels. I don't think just with given the defenses around the NFL now, you're ever getting back to those levels that we saw, but should be close to it because this set of weapons that they have now it's scary. All right. That was the first off the ball segment. After this, we're going back, taking the predictions for all the NFL awards, comeback player of the year, O-Roy, D-Roy, O-Poi, D-Poi, coach of the year, MVP, right after this.
You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. So even if you can't count on accurate expiration dates,
that is a rookie mistake,
or people appreciating your fashion sense,
Jim, the crowd is not on board here.
You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
Glad we wear our good jerseys.
Yeah.
All right, comeback player of the year. JP, who we got?
I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson here. I almost went with Christian McCaffrey, but I think for what Hutchinson means to that defense and how good he was before getting hurt, that defense is going to be a lot better just based on Hutchinson being back. He's going to get a lot of pressures. They're going to line him up in a lot of advantageous situations. I think Hutchinson's going to win comeback player of the year.
I think Aiden Hutchinson is one of those rare freaks physically. And when he first got injured, I said it's probably going to take him upwards of 12 months to look like the guy that we saw terrorizing every backfield in the National Football League last year in what should have been the Defensive Player of the Year season. Look, I'm rooting for him, and I really hope he does, and the Lions are going to need that. Another guy who's needed by his team to step up in a big way, and is C.J. Stroud. This quarterback is special. We saw it his rookie year, and at times last year there was disjointment in terms of coordinator and quarterback, and obviously the protection issues were widely publicized. But if you go look at the tape early in the season, regardless of protection, he has a true X in Nico Collins, who was healthy, and he could throw him the football. And his yards per game, his yards per catch, his yards per whatever the hell you want to say were off the charts. And Nico Collins is one of those freak shows, and they've got that great connection. I think C.J. Stroud bounces back this year. They were able to spread the money out a little bit in the offensive line room. Did I think they were all home run signings? Not at all. And a lot of this stuff is depending upon if they can stay healthy. I'm not quite sure about the depth there in Houston, but Kaylee's going to be good. CJ Stroud's going to be great. I just know he's going to be great. Nico's going to be healthy. I think it's going to be a big year for CJ Stroud.
While I agree, and while I was here when we did this show a year ago, predicting CJ Stroud to win MVP, and obviously that didn't work out. I think the scheme's going to be so much better in terms of such a better fit for Stroud. But for this award specifically, after Joe Flacco won, they sent a message to all the voters saying, hey, we can't do this anymore. We can't just give it to a guy who stunk. So it's no more coming back from stinking for comeback player of the year. You got to come back from an actual injury.
He's coming back from situation.
Situational injury.
He definitely was. Yeah, he definitely was probably injured.
Which exists
with how much he got hit. So, and maybe you can sneak that one in there. But I'm with JP. It's Aiden Hutchinson. And the reason why, one, is because I think he was, on defensive player of the year pace last year. before he got hurt. He had 45 pressures in just 4.5 games. Now, some of that was against backup OTs. He is in probably the best right tackle division in football, which isn't going to help because he only rushes left side against RTs. So that's going to limit maybe his production. But I saw this tweet from Jeff Risdon of Lions Wire. He said, I watched J.J. Watt in his healthy prime in person. I've seen tons of Myles Garrett in person. Aiden Hutchinson has been as dominant as either of those Hall of Famers over the last 12 months. You'd never know he broke his leg.
Who said that?
At camp. Jeff Risdon of Lions Wire said that of him at camp this year. So if he looks like that after that injury, yeah, I think he feels like a heavy favorite to win Comeback Player of the Year. All right, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Who are we going?
I trust Jeff Risdon.
My Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to be a little bit of a homer. Don't care. It's Travis Hunter. Just in the way that they are going to use him offensively, you could tell even in the limited action he saw on offense, it is going to be a lot of yards after the catch. They're going to try and get the ball in his hands through the screen game, the quick game, and just the electricity when he gets the ball in his hands as a receiver is super exciting. I think this Jaguars offense is going to take off this year, and I think Travis Hunter is going to have a really big year because of it. So I'm going Hunter here for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Just the highlights are going to be so freaking cool to watch.
I think Travis Hunter is the most intriguing guy in the National Football League. And the other guy that we're going to talk about later, Abdul Carter, I'm sure we'll talk about him, is like that. It's like we know how talented they are. And we know that talent is really what makes things happen in the National Football League. How are these guys going to be used?
That's my thing with Hunter is just how many snaps does he actually get? Because if he wants to play both ways, 75%, I don't think is 75, 45, something like that. 75, 50 is, I don't think, unrealistic. But that also is then, you're probably not going to give a ton of screen touches, a ton of like scheme stuff to tire a guy out who's playing both ways. It's just my thought.
Fatigue makes cowards of all of us, and nobody is immune to fatigue. I don't care what you're doing, who you are, how much you train, what kind of athlete you are. And I heard Travis Kelce talking about this. If I'm a offensive coordinator and I got Travis Hunter out there on defense and I know that he's tearing our offense up, I'm just going to run his ass into the dirt. I'm just going to run him. He's going to have to respect routes. I mean, that's just the way the National Football League is. And then offensively, you can kind of make him a little bit fatigued. But if they can really volume share him the right way, it should be ridiculous. Okay. I'm in love with this guy. I'm in love with this guy. I really like the way that they've put their team together, particularly defensively. All it seems like they're missing is that knight in shining armor to come in and make plays and make this coaching staff and this management group feel like they made the right decision. Jackson Dart. Okay. Can you imagine if the New York Giants have a couple hiccups early? Maybe they don't like the way their offense looks. There's a couple moon balls, obviously, that will be thrown and they will be caught. And everybody's going to be in awe. But then they're going to be like, okay, what else? I think this Jackson Dart guy provides you an opportunity to have a real spark in your offense. There's a true belief in this youth. I really feel like youth is like hope in the NFL. And for Jackson Dart, he can run the football. He can distribute the football. The game doesn't look too fast for him. You watch him in the preseason, and it's like it feels like he's done this before almost. Can you imagine a New York Giants team? Let's call it a wild card New York Giants team. Would you say that I'm crazy for saying if Jackson Dart was the quarterback for that run that he wouldn't win the Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Yes, I think I still would.
I think I would too.
I don't. See, I know how much pressure there is on a quarterback, and I know how much we skew the quarterback position in terms of awards, in terms of giving credit. And if a guy like Jackson Dart can go up there with some Fugazi diamonds around his neck and throw the ball to Malik Neighbors enough times to score some touchdowns every week, people are going to be head over heels for this New York Giants team because they've got this flashy style of offense. They've got the teeth on the defensive front that'll kill you, and they've got guys on the back end. It's going to be tough to play this team. They could go on a run. I think Jackson Dart could take the world by storm this season.
See, I don't want to get back up on my soapbox but quarterbacks should have no deference in this award. It's not an MVP. It's not a value award.
This is still the NFL, Mike. This is the way they do
Quarterbacks
things.
should have no difference. So if he's going to play a half season, which is like probably
let's call it 2/3 of a season.
You just can't. You can't give it to him when someone like Hunter is going to play, literally 1,500 snaps this year.
Good.
I think the only precedence for that would be Justin Herbert winning in 2020, but Justin Herbert also set the rookie passing record, the rookie touchdown record,
4,500 yards or something.
And he was starting by week 3, right? Like it
could happen. I'm looking at this schedule right now, bro. It's not even, Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs. Next thing you know, they could be like, all right, let's roll out Jackson Dart against the Chargers, the Saints, and then obviously he's going to take his lumps against the Eagles. There's a couple good teams in there they got to play, but I got Jackson Dart.
All right, my pick. I'm super chalk with my picks. I don't care. These guys are sick, and
I'm just
they're
having
going to be
fun
sick
with
in the
it,
NFL.
dude.
Ashton Genty. I went with Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
The way we talked about him as a prospect was for a reason. You saw how hard he ran in the preseason. I mean, the guy is going to have highlight reel runs. You're going to have Kyle Brandt on, talk it. Do they still do is Good Morning Football
angry runs? Yeah,
he's going to be doing angry runs. He's going to get at
scepter.
least 3 scepters this year because of just the way he runs and how many unsuspecting safeties and corners he's going to put into a body bag. It's Ashton Genty to me, an easy pick. And also, I mentioned this after they drafted him with Chip Kelly, his offense. People think of Chip Kelly, I think, and just think of high-powered offenses. He had one of the best receiving cores of all time in college football and had like a 55-45 pass run split. He's a run-heavy offensive coordinator. That's where his bread and butter is. So Ashton Genty is going to get a zillion touches this year. And the O-line's fine. Like, the O-line's good enough that he can succeed behind it. So give me Ashton Genty.
I love that. I love the Genty pick. Just based on the fact that their scheme is going to be built around him. That's why they drafted a running back so highly. That's why they've invested so much money in their offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly. And to your brilliant point, as being someone who played in Chip Kelly's offenses, the first time I watched Oregon, I was like, they don't block anybody. The ball's out. They don't even huddle. They're out there playing patty cake and the ball's on the sideline. As you've seen Chip Kelly's offenses progress and you take a look historically, every single one of those high-powered offenses had a marquee running back. Whether it's
Shady led the league his first year with Chip Kelly.
D'Anthony Thomas, Kenyon Barner, LeGarrette Blount, any number of these guys were great running backs, and that was what opened up everything, and that was the straw that stirred the drink. They've got 2 tight ends; they can remain balanced. They've got Geno Smith, who has the ability to be accurate on third down. They're gonna ride that horse, Ashton Genty, this year. It's gonna be fun.
And he's going to make a lot of highlights. That's going to be the biggest thing in this race is he's going to have a lot of highlights, like you said, where he's just going to catch a secondary member slipping, and he's going to end up on the wrong side of a TikTok.
Marshawn Lynch-ish.
That's how the awards go nowadays. You got who's on TikTok the most? Who's got the most engagement? That's how we vote. All right, defensive rookie of the year, a unanimous. I believe this was the only unanimous call of any award. 3, 2, 1. Abdul Carter. It's so easy. He was so good. It's one of the best preseasons I've seen from a rookie.
It's a great
just in
picture.
terms of like who he went up against, how good he looked against them, and just I thought this guy was a special prospect. He looked small. This is probably the only thing you could say about him in like a negative manner is that the rigors of the NFL with his body type. Maybe he doesn't play a zillion snaps this year. Maybe he's part of a rotation where he plays 650, and maybe that's the only thing limiting him from winning this award. But he just feels head and shoulders above everyone else in this defensive class.
If we're going off of how Jared Verse won the award last year, despite having 4.5 sacks, it was all the pressure and all of the big moments that he stepped up. I think Abdul Carter is going to do that in a different way than Verse did. And I almost went with the Travis Hunter sweep here. But the reason I didn't is because I don't think he's going to get enough snaps defensively. I think they're going to use him predominantly on offense instead of defense. I think that's part of the reason why they really like Jerry and Jones. They went and signed Jordan Lewis to play the slot so Jerry and Jones could play outside. So I think Travis Hunter is going to be more of a receiver than defensive back. So that's why I went with Abdul Carter. Just the urgency that he plays with. The violence that he plays with, it was noticeable from the first snap he played in the preseason. Like, it is different when he is on the field. It's sort of field tilting, and he's going to get a lot of one-on-one opportunities as a result of being on that same defensive line.
And I think the difference between him and Verse, just the types of rushers they are. Verse is the type of rusher that's a pressure over sack type of rusher. He's like a Brandon Graham.
Power.
The guys who
Brandon Graham.
They aren't sack specialists. When you are Abdul Carter and you're undersized and you're twitchy and you win by just going around for the most part, you're not going through. Well, then you're often, when you win, it's clean. You're free. You can attack and find the quarterback then. Like when Micah Parsons went, it's like, dude, you're toast. You're not getting away from Micah Parsons. That's how I feel about Abdul Carter, is that when he wins, ball better be out because you're not getting away from Abdul Carter.
The difficult thing, and you mentioned size or lack of size as an issue for Abdul Carter. I would argue that it is a benefit for Abdul Carter, and it becomes an issue for big guys like myself who are trying to find a target area to strike this guy. And in the same way that Von Miller got famous doing that ghost rush where there's really no target area and you can't get low enough to hit him, Abdul Carter has a similar change of direction. He can cross face. He can put his foot in the ground and change direction faster than you can. And just fresh off the bat, that's a mismatch. I know that is one of those skill sets that will translate immediately, which is why I think that we're all on board with this award here. Abdul Carter's going to get some sacks, man.
All right, let's get to Offensive Player of the Year. JP, who we got?
I went with Bijan Robinson. This is a pick that I made last year. I'm going to stick with it this year. I just think in this offense, with the way that they're going to use him as a runner and receiver, with how explosive the Falcons offense is going to be, he is going to put up some insane numbers as both as a runner, as a receiver. I know Caleb McGarry being out is going to take a significant hit to that run game off the right side of the line, but his ability to just, it's so weird. I've said a lot. He runs like an anime character where you don't think he's going to get out of something, and then he makes one cut and 3 defenders are left on their knees after he scores a touchdown. It's insane. So I think I'm going to go with Bijan again. I'm sure that because it is the Falcons, this could all go horribly wrong, but he is one of the most electrifying players in the NFL. So I'm giving him Offensive Player of the Year.
I root for good guys, and he's up there in that elite category in the good guys list, but also just freak show list. Like some people, when I was playing in college, I had a coach, and he would be like, God touched him. You know what I'm saying? I hope he thanked mom, dad, and God today. Well, Bijan Robinson touched with 2 hands. You know what I'm saying? Just special, and probably underappreciated in the league. But this is the year with all those weapons that we're going to be able to see him shine. I like that pick a lot. For me, I'm going to go Jamar Chase, and I think it's obvious. Just throw him the ball and watch what he does with it, okay? It's not rocket science. So tough, consummate badass, and such a fun offense to watch. People tune in to watch the Bengals offense, man. And you're looking at the Bengals offense right here. There's Joe Burrow in the background. There's a defender on the ground, and there's Jamar Chase on his way to the end zone.
Yeah, I'm going Jamar Chase too. The slow start, I think, Bengals have been known for their slow starts. I think it's been a product of just slow training camps, though. Burrow's been hurt for a bunch of these. You had contract negotiations last year. This is the first year everyone's happy in that offensive room and been playing all through training camp. The rapport's all together. His first 2 games last year were his lowest two-game stretch of the total in terms of output. His final 8 games last year, 72 catches, 991 yards, 10 touchdowns. You extrapolate that out to a full season, 153 catches, 2,105 yards, and 21 touchdowns. Now, while that's not how this works, you can say that he'll probably be closer to that than the early stretch he was, where, again, he didn't have a training camp last year because he was holding out in Burrow. They were just unhappy there in that offensive room. So, yeah, I think Jamar, if he just stays healthy, he should be putting up similar numbers. Still only 25 years old. I want to go back to Bijan for just 1 second because I can't believe the Falcons, with where they were, with having lost Drew Dalman. They lost Drew Dalman from an offensive line last year. And obviously he was hurt, banged up last year. They added no one. They added no one to the offensive line. And now your right tackle's out for the season. Jake Matthews is on the left side, who you're lucky has been as ageless as he is. He's 2014 draft class. The guy's in his mid-30s at this point.
He's like Taylor Decker.
They are playing with fire with this offensive line, in my opinion. Yes, Michael Penix gets the ball out fast. I'm not worried about the sacks. I'm worried about him getting hurt and this running game taking a step back because you are so thin. Elijah Wilkinson now starting at right tackle for the entire season. Yeah, I'm a little worried, but it might mean, you know what it might mean? A zillion checkdowns for Bijan.
Again,
That's what it might mean. It might end up being a good thing.
Targets, a lot of runs to the outside.
Y screen, H screen, Y screen, H screen.
So it could ultimately play in his favor. We'll see. All right, defensive player of the year. I got to start with you, Kyle, because I'm looking at the sheet of who we got.
This is a fun little. This is fun, right? And we can let the people in. Okay, so Mike, we were doing Ricky Scoops yesterday. Ricky Scoops, that's the guy's name. Talking about. I got like 3 texts. Oh my god, you guys talked about Ricky Scoops? Like, yeah, we did, and I thought it was funny. And then Mike and JP sent me a group text with a picture of Micah Parsons in a Green Bay jersey, bull rushing some honky that Mike allegedly said AI made out to be me.
They refused, so they would do that. I was doing Micah Parsons like to a T. They had his face perfect in every single one I tried. I was like literally feeding it pictures of you. I'm like, no, Kyle Long. Like, you have to know who Kyle Long is. Maybe it's too basic of a name that there's too many guys named Kyle Long that it didn't know where to go with it.
8 letters.
Maybe it was just mashing them up. But I was like, no, Kyle Long. Bears Kyle Long. Here's a picture of him. Would not do it. So that was the best it came up with. But
so I was part of the team when Khalil Mack got dropped off by a stork in the middle of the night and came out against the Green Bay Packers and had 4 sacks. And in my opinion, it was a DPOY season. And we had a number of guys on defense who were great. Look, Green Bay Packers, some would say that if they can hit everything the right way offensively, they may be the best offense in football this season. If Jordan Love can stay healthy, if they can get all that they've had before out of their receivers, and this Matthew Golden guy is a beast. What's the missing piece? We talked about getting pressure. We talked about some of their investments in the draft that haven't really panned out in terms of sack production. How do you solve that? Well, there's a guy taking a nap at Jerry's World right now, and you make a phone call. And I'll tell you what, so superstars are superstars. And then when they get an opportunity to reintroduce themselves in a different look or on a different team, you see a different version. Micah Parsons, if he goes to Green Bay, will be your defensive player of the year.
And I'll say this, he's held out all camp, and people are like, oh, he's held out. This isn't pass rusher is a position where you could hold out until week 1, show up Thursday, not having played. And he's
been wrestling since he was in diapers. The guy just can't wait to rip somebody's face off. Are you kidding me?
You don't need rapport with anyone. You just need to be Micah Parsons as an athlete, right? And you're golden. You'll be fine.
Be in shape.
Yes, exactly. And he is.
So my defensive player of the year, I'm going off the trend of the best defensive player on the best defensive team in the league, normally winning defensive player of the year. So I'm going Will Anderson Jr. of the Houston Texans. Ooh. I think this defense is going to rock so much. Every time I watch that defense over the last year, I keep going back to the performance they had against the Bills early in the season, where Josh Allen, I think, went like 9 of 30 in that game. And that defense, especially Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, when they can tell that they don't respect you as an offensive line, they're going to tee off. They just constantly will tee off on you. And I think Will Anderson Jr. is constantly trended up in terms of production, in terms of play against the run and the pass. I think this is going to be a really big year for him sacks-wise. So I'm kind of calling my shot here. I'm getting Will Anderson Jr. a defensive player of the year because this Texans defense is going to be incredible.
I love that. And it's not only like you said it the best defense, best player on that defense is like the trend. The other guy opposite him is awesome. And I remember when I was watching the NFL really for the first time as a fan, it was St. Louis Rams, Chris Long, Robert Quinn. And I remember watching the opportunities that came about because there was an elite rusher on the other side for both of the guys. And when I watched the Texans, it's the same thing. And now marry that with their back end, their coaching staff. That culture of like defense wins games for us, I could totally see Will Anderson having a huge numbers year. I love this pick, JP.
See, my only caveat or my only question would be, Will Anderson has a monster year. Wouldn't you think, I would think Derek Stingley might have even more of a monster year if he has a monster year. You know, like that his monster year will lead to Derek Stingley like jumping routes left and right, and he'll end up like double-digit picks if Will Anderson is really taking one more step forward from the guy we saw last year. It's just an embarrassment of riches, though, on the Texans team. The amount of guys who are – so I was just looking it up. Derek Stingley's 24. Kamar Lassiter's 22. Will Anderson's 23. Like, Kalen Bullock's 22. These guys are only getting better. So you had a defense that was elite last year, and you have 4 or 5 stars who are ascending players. It's like, damn, this defense is so good, and everyone's getting better pretty much on it. So, yeah, I'm right there with the Texans. Probably Texans or Broncos. Shoot, or Ravens. I mean, Texas, Broncos, Ravens is like the triumvirate. Those are the 3 best defenses in the NFL. They will be dominant this year. I'm going a little off the beaten path, though. This is more of like, I just want this to happen.
I
want to see this guy.
This is awesome.
I want Kalijah Kancey. 2 reasons. One is he has been very, very good his first 2 seasons when healthy. He has been absolutely plagued by calf injuries. Guys misses like half the time almost over the first 2 seasons via calf injuries. No calf injury now. Like he was getting massages all off season on those bad boys. He's fresh. He's ready. And
it's
2,
a hydration thing, dude. Florida, bro. It's just like
Tampa Heat.
No work.
Right off the water too.
Know.
I cramped taking my trash out this morning, so.
2, he is the type of defensive tackle that will rack up sacks. He is so twitchy. I talked about how he went, how Abdul Carter wins, and when he wins, it's clean. He's finding you. That's how Kalijah Kancey is. When he gets by you, it is you aren't touching him anymore. He's not bull rushing you. He is going around you, and he is going to find the quarterback. He had 7.5 sacks in 12 games last season, 40 pressures in those 12 games. If you combine a little bit of step forward with a full healthy season, he could be in the 13, 14 sack range for a DT. And if you're in that range for a defensive tackle, you automatically get in the D point conversation. And I think the Bucs D could be really good too. I think this is right up there with a lot of teams for a top 5 sort of defense.
Do you guys have a comp for him? You guys want to do a blind comp on the count of 3?
Oh
boy.
I mean, the comp
everybody take 5 seconds. Close your eyes. Imagine Kalijah Kancey. Imagine defensive tackles winning clean, change of direction. Okay, everybody got somebody in their head? This is based on my experience as an O-lineman and the nightmares I still have.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, Geno
Aaron
Atkins.
Donald's little brother.
Geno Atkins.
I also said Geno Atkins.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Aaron Donald was the guy I thought of because Pitt won. Because you just don't see athletes like that too that are that laterally and explosive. But it's like if Aaron Donald had a little brother. Aaron Donald's in high school and his brother's like a freshman. You're like, hey, this is Aaron Donald's freshman brother. It's like that's Kalijah Kancey.
Yeah.
He's not quite Aaron Donald, but he's like 85% of the way to Aaron Donald.
Yeah, it's like if you take the idea of Aaron Donald and
Yes.
only like get it to like 85% right now.
Correct.
And the Bucs are going to be awesome.
He has shorter arms. He's not quite as athletic. He's definitely not as strong. Not a lot of people are.
The country's going to see the Bucs play every week. You know what I mean? Like they'll be in big games every single week. And at the end of the year, I don't know if you looked at my brackets, but they're going to be making it pretty far up there in the old NFC tournament.
All right, let's get to Coach of the Year, where we all differ. I like that. So, Kyle, I'm gonna start with you because I like your pick.
So I'm a big believer in player coaches. I'm a big believer in toughness. I'm a big believer in staff. And obviously there were a lot of people who were big believers, huge believers in the Detroit Lions staff last year. When Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn left, huge question marks, red flags, injuries, obviously going to be something they have to deal with as well. But I think the glue that will keep this thing together and will keep the Detroit Lions as competitive a team in the NFC North as there is Dan Campbell. And I don't believe he's won this award, but I think he will this year. And it will be earned, not given. I feel like he's earned the award already, but this will be he hasn't won it, right? He's never won it. This is the year. I mean, this is it. Okay. Ben Johnson out the door. Okay, caveman, come up with an offense now. Aaron Glenn out the door. Okay, smart guy. You played tight end. You know the run game and the pass, but do you know defense? Well, I can promise you this. The people they brought into the building, John Morton, these guys are ready to rock. And Dan Campbell is going to be that fearless leader. they're going to make a run at the NFC North again, and he wins Coach of the Year.
I think it's a good pick, honestly, just because I've said before, I think Dan Campbell had more of a say in what that offense looked like than people give him credit for. Because you think of Dan Campbell, you think of like the raw meathead coach, but no, like he promoted Ben Johnson. This was like he initially hired, I think, Anthony Lynn to be the offensive coordinator. So this is an offense that he has shaped also in his image and what he wants it to be. And even though Ben Johnson is gone, I think that offense is going to still look like what Dan Campbell wants them to be. And also, this roster is still incredibly talented, can still win the NFC North, and can still go really far. So I think that Dan Campbell's a really great pick here. I'm going a little off the beaten path. I have said for so long how much I irrationally believe in this team. And if they do anything, I think Jonathan Gannon wins Coach of the Year, because this team is ready to make that jump for the playoffs now. I think this defense is ready to make that jump. I've said that they can be a sneaky top 10 unit on that side of the ball. They could also be a sneaky top 10 unit on the offensive side of the ball. If Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray get it worked out, I think they maybe need one more receiver. That'll probably be like a deadline deal. But their run game is going to be awesome. Kyler Murray should be still a factor in that run game. If they finish, I think last year they finished like 11th in offensive EPA per play, around that range. If they finish top 10 on both sides of the ball, that kind of sounds like a playoff team. And if they make the playoffs, we always love to give Coach of the Year to the upstart team that makes the playoffs after a long time of not going. So I think Jonathan Gannon, for everything that I have said good about the Cardinals, is probably winning Coach of the Year.
First off, saw this one coming a mile away. I knew before I even had to check the sheet that you were going Jonathan Gannon. That's just how it goes. When you're that high in a team, you want to figure out anyway, and that's going to be where mine is.
A long time coming for JP. He's been talking about this for about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
And can we get that Jonathan Gannon picture back up on the screen?
Jack.
How about this guy's glow up from
That's the coolest Jonathan Gannon has ever looked.
Yeah, dude, that from the Rondale Moore video when he first got hired as head coach, when it was the most awkward, where he's like, shots. He's like talking to Rondale Moore, and it just went viral for all the wrong reasons. He's found his groove, and he kind of looks like a badass there. So I'm on board with it. I like the Cardinals this year. I just offensively is where I'm like, I just need to see it before I believe it. But
do you want your coach to be slightly overweight or overly ripped like this? Because Ben Johnson, there's been pictures floating around of Ben Johnson. He's pretty jacked too. This guy here, Gannon, shredded.
I feel like if you came up as a coach in the 90s,
I'm a McCarthy archetype guy.
If you came up as a coach in the 90s, you wanted him to be heavier. You know, Andy Reid, Belichick didn't necessarily take care of himself. Like that was Mike McCarthy at the time.
Parcells.
That was what it was back then. But if you got a guy who's under 45 now, he better be just shredded. That's the new wave of coaches. It's like you want the guy who's doing everything. You know, how you do one thing is how you do everything. You want the guy who's like everything is like meticulous about his life. That's the guy you want now.
And now every coach is wearing like compression and dry fit shirts on the sideline. Yes. You got to make sure that your coach looks the part.
Yeah. So if you're the age of the players, you better look like you could have been a player yourself.
At a certain point, are we going to go with the baseball train of thought and have them wear full pads like the coaches wear full jerseys?
I think Mike Vrabel already petitioned for that.
Someone's going to have shoulder pads on at some point.
Mike McDaniel will look like shit.
Dan Campbell already has his pair of pads picked out.
Yes.
Eye black. At least eye black. At least go with eye black first.
Single bar helmet.
Because, I mean, you could use the eye black. The eye black's already, it's just functional. It just helping your glare on the sidelines. I think someone's going to be the first to break it out here soon. My coach of the year. I'm going Sean Payton of the Denver Broncos. Now, Coach of the Year, I think, is a stupid award with how it's been given out. Just the fact that Andy Reid hasn't won since 2002 tells you, I think, all you need to know about how dumb the award is. It's more like breakout team of the year is, I think, Coach of the Year. It's like who exceeded expectations, who exceeded your preseason win-loss total on Vegas the most. And I think the Broncos have a good shot to do it. They have 9.5 as their over-under. I think there's a world where this team wins 13, 14 games. And if they overtake the Chiefs as the AFC West winners for the first time since Patrick Mahomes took over, I think they would give Sean Payton Coach of the Year.
That's not going to happen, Mike.
They came like one game away from. They came one field goal away from doing it.
Yep.
They were one block kick away from doing it last year. I really like this pick because it feels like the Broncos are in that upward trend. They're among those teams that are constantly like everything they have done has been towards this upward tick of we're making this jump now or next year. But it feels like the Broncos are closer to it. And I think Sean Payton has a good chance because he's also the play caller. And I think when we think about coach of the year, we also give it to the guy that calls plays on offense. And that's going to get him a lot of credit for a Broncos offense that should be better than it was last year.
Yes. All right, let's get to MVP. Last award here before we get to our own awards. A decidedly AFC North flavor here, but we got two different ones. JP, where are you going?
I'm going with Lamar Jackson. It is going back and watching Lamar Jackson last year. It was like when Aang entered Avatar state. Like there was nobody who could touch him. And he had 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The offense was incredible by every metric you want to look at. And now this year, everybody comes back. You got Ronnie Stanley back. You have your running backs intact. Derrick Henry's back again. You have Keaton Mitchell back healthy. Your receiver room has once again not changed. Rashad Bateman's going to have another good year. Your tight ends are still the same. This offense is going to once again be face melting. Todd Monken returns again. And that mind meld of Lamar Jackson, Todd Monken, it feels crazy to say, but this is, I believe, the third year with Monken and Jackson as offensive coordinator and quarterback. And we haven't even gone through 3 full years, and this offense is one of the best in the league. So I think this year is the year he's going to win it again.
I'm also with you on Lamar Jackson. Last year was one of, if not the most impressive seasons for a quarterback I've ever seen, maybe since Peyton Manning was in Denver doing like otherworldly things, but it's such different brands of football that we're watching. Lamar is amazing. The Ravens are so much fun. You feel like this is the year for the Ravens. And I know that this award is picked prior to that run that I'm talking about, but I think they get it done this year. I really do. Lamar was unbelievable last year. No signs of letting up there. And the way that it ended, you have to feel like huge chip on the shoulder of everybody involved. And we already know Lamar's going to be ready to rock.
All right, I'm not going to debate anything you guys said because I agree with all of it, but I'm going Joe Burrow, and I have 3 big reasons why. One, I already outlined with Jamar Chase down the stretch. Second half of last season, that offense was en fuego. And now you should be picking up with the first full time that no one's been hurt, no one's going through contract negotiations. You should be from week 1 good offensively. So there's one. 2 is the fact that Joe Burrow has the worst defense of any of these MVP quarterbacks. So fourth quarter, Lamar's going to be on the sidelines chilling. Lamar's going to be handing it off to Keaton Mitchell. Joe Burrow is going to be throwing for like 150 yards every fourth quarter because he has to. So he's going to put up big numbers the way Drew Brees used to put up big numbers, purely because if he doesn't, they're losing football games. So that almost plays in his favor. And then 3, this is the same reason why Josh Allen won it last year, in my opinion, was, I don't want to even say it's not voter fatigue. It's more career achievement. Lamar's got 2. Josh got 1. Patrick's got 1 or 2 at this point. The guys who are in the, everyone pretty much agrees there's 4 at the top of the league. All the others have MVPs. Joe doesn't. So if he's in the mix, voters are going to trend towards the guy who hasn't won 1 versus the guy who has 2 versus the guy who has 1. So I think that is, again, why Josh Allen won it last year and why if Joe Burrow's there, I think you see voter deference go his way.
Do we think that maybe Justin Herbert climbed the ranks a little bit with his new girlfriend?
Absolutely not. I mean, that'll help, right? That doesn't hurt.
Next topic.
But you still need talent around you.
He does.
My only question with Joe Burrow winning MVP is, can he get MVP even if this team doesn't make the playoffs? Because I think there is still a very real reality where this defense just doesn't adjust very well to the new scheme. There's just not enough help. And like you said, Joe Burrow is going to be throwing for 100 yards in the fourth quarter. The only problem is the defense is going to give up a touchdown.
They're going to lose.
if he puts up insane numbers like he did last year, but they still missed the playoffs, it's going to be a long shot for him to win.
Sure.
They found new ways to win games last year, missing kicks, blown leads, not being able to stop anybody. It'll be interesting.
All right. Those are your NFL awards. We take a quick break. After that, going to get to our awards, the Pushies, coming up right after this. All right, I'm going to kick it off with mine. We're both going to give out a couple. My first one is the best dual threat quarterback the league has ever seen award. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I saw this and I my jaw dropped. This was from Jason McIntyre of Fox Sports.
J-Mac.
In the middle of a diatribe on Jalen Hurts being underappreciated, which, like, fine. You can call him underappreciated. He called him the name of this award, the best dual threat quarterback the league has ever seen, which to me is like calling in 1996 Karl Malone the best basketball player to ever play. It's like, no, we have a guy right there who's kicking his ass every year, who's obviously the best dual threat quarterback the league has ever seen, Lamar Jackson, who's a 2-time MVP, who, like, how can you how could people go on? And I get saying a dumb thing in a rant, and it was part of the thing, but then he doubled down because he tweeted it out saying, like, he didn't think it was obviously a dumb thing. He didn't think it was hyperbole. He thought it was actually a true fact. So I just had to.
For whatever reason, people think that Jalen Hurts is disrespected.
Well, people point to his rushing touchdowns, which to me is one of the biggest.
Well, they're Saquon's touchdowns.
That's the thing. It's Landon Dickerson's touchdown. It's, Jason.
Yeah,
Kelsey's
you're
touchdown.
absolutely right. And,
I
should say that, but, like, go look at the skewed touchdown numbers between between Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. They don't run the tush push in Baltimore. They just give the football to whoever has the best chance to score. You know what they're doing in Philly. My point is this: Jalen Hurts outplayed one of the best quarterbacks to ever live in the Super Bowl and lost, and then went and their team dominated that team, and he threw 3 touchdowns and played very well. Do I think he has a cheat code on short yardage? Yes. Do I think he's the best dual threat to ever do it? No. And that's okay, because to your point, in 1996, there was a gentleman by the name of Michael Jordan who played in the league, and that was obvious to anybody who watches.
But here's the thing: if he had the Seahawks offensive line last year, does he get, do they tush push? Do they even try? Like, it takes what they got in front of him. He's great at it, yes, but it's it's 4 guys basically that are driving it, and he's just one of 4.
There's a weird thing where people have to champion in white knight for all of these athletes that in their mind are disrespected or devalued. And, I credit J-Mac for standing on the table for Jalen Hurts because he has been awesome, but, like, come on.
I think the funniest thing is he tweeted out 4 straight years of 15-plus touchdown passes and 10-plus rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts, and named somebody else who's done that. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like that meme of the stat graphic that has LeBron, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Thaddeus Young, and they all have the same stats, and you just pick, like, an arbitrary number and go, okay, this guy must be equal to this guy.
Yeah, Taysom Hill,
the worst quarterback in the NFL, will get 15 passing touchdowns over the course of the year.
If you throw at least a high enough volume over 17 games, you should throw 15 touchdowns. But the Jalen Hurts thing has become so, like, skewed, and we do this every year with every quarterback that wins the Super Bowl, where when you win it, you're automatically top 5. You're automatically the best thing to ever live. And, like, cool, you can go ahead and ride that wave. But, like, come on. Everybody has to, like, chill out with the quarterback talk.
Yeah, it's just, you don't have to go there. You can have the rational position. You don't have to. You can argue for a guy without going to such extreme lengths to call him the best dual threat quarterback the league's ever seen, which I'm giving to Lamar Jackson. All right, Kyle, what's your first word?
I'm going to change of pace here, okay? This is called the You Can Wear That Jersey Award, and it's for parents who approve of a player for their kids to cheer for or wear a jersey at school for Jersey Day. And this is something that makes me feel like a little kid, because when I was because when I was a young man, I had some players that I used to like to wear, and some of those guys have been canceled. So here
you have an OJ
is
growing up.
Yeah, I may or may not have
OJ
had a
built.
big old number 4 jersey, that green jersey with the number 4 on it, with the golden collar. I was a Packers fan growing up. I don't know if you know this about me, JP, but my godfather played defensive line. He played defensive line with my dad with the Raiders. His name was Sean Jones. He then went on to win a Super Bowl with the Packers.
Oh, sick.
And I went to the NFC Championship for my birthday present. Fox was covering the game, so I went as a young kid. And I remember sitting in the locker room with these guys after the win and feeling like I was on the damn Green Bay Packers. Now, I didn't say that for a long time because I was a Bear. Long story short, I'm about to name a Detroit Lion as my award winner for the You Can Wear That Jersey award. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay. And I have these conversations with my older brother a lot about, he's got 2 sons and they're at the age now where they're into players and they want to get jerseys. He always said, if I wanted to teach my son how to play football, I would just show him Matt Milano tape. And I'd say, you just be him. Okay. If I have a kid that is skilled enough to play a skill position or really football, any position for that matter, I'd say, go watch Amon-Ra St. Brown play football. And then once you're done studying him, you go listen to him on his podcast. And I want you to understand that is how you toe the line of being the guy that nobody wants to play against, but everybody wants on their team. And he is that dude. I just love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I created an award to be able to talk about him. He looked great in the preseason. He's going to be a huge part of why Dan Campbell and this Lions team goes on another run. Tough as nails. I would have loved to have played with this guy.
I think that's a great pick. I think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is somebody who every kid should look up to, especially for being undersized, someone who wasn't picked very early in the draft, and made their way into being somewhat of a unique player in the NFL, who is one of the 5-6 best receivers in the league. So I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is an incredible pick for this one.
See, I disagree personally. Feel free to go on your own and draft it, but I cannot. My kids will not wear any other NFC North jersey besides Packers jersey. That's just, those are off limits. But also, not a guy that went to USC. Sorry, just no USC, no Michigan. You can't wear either of those jerseys in the NFL. That's just how it goes in the household.
I would do that, but I'm a Jaguars fan. So if I get a Jaguars jersey for my future child, they'll probably end up on another team that next year. So
I'd get the Tony Baselli Jags jersey.
Yeah, we got to get a throwback.
Mike, who would you wear?
Okay, so you asked this before the show, and I came up with a few categories. So growing up, I had the LT throwback. So obviously Packers jersey, but I had an LT throwback. I had a Larry Fitzgerald, and I had a Michael Vick. The Michael Vick one, shelf life on it, not long. I think I got it in like 05, and by 08, it was toast. But the other two, loved. I think of guys in the league right now, 2 that really stood out to me. One is the Derrick Henry Titans throwback, for the same reason that the LT throwback is just because that's a beautiful jersey. And Derrick Henry's the freaking man, a great guy as well. Travis Hunter is the other one, just because, he's a one-of-one player. I like the Jags jerseys. Not everyone does. I'm a fan. And it's just, the guy's awesome. By all accounts, he is a fantastic human being. I love him when he talks about fishing. I think that's an electric for the best player, the best two-way player of NFL, like college football history, to have that as his hobby. So those 2 came to mind. And then I also just threw out any white running back or cornerback, just because if you're a white running back, cornerback, you're like the archetype for
holding it down. Holding it down.
It's like, man, you wish you could have had what Cooper DeJean's got. You wish you could have had what Chris McCaffrey's got. Not a lot of us do.
I think for me, if we're going off of, you can't wear this rival team jersey except for this guy, I actually said Andrew Luck, because like every kid wanted to grow up being like Andrew Luck. If you're around my age, he was the guy. I remember telling my dad, like, I wanted to go to Stanford and major in architecture like Andrew Luck. I ended up going to FAU. So that incredible. Do as much, do as well. But I'd say Andrew Luck. And then of course I had the throwback LT. I had the Mike Vick jersey. I was also like 4 when I had the Mike Vick jersey. So I was able to get a little bit longer of a shelf life out of that one. But I think if I were choosing any current player, I would definitely choose Derrick Henry. I'd also choose I guess I'd say Nico Collins, because
That's such a great
Nico's
pick.
just a really cool player. And I think the Texans jerseys have they're cool, but like the helmets are weird. So I just say like jerseys are cool. So I go with Nico Collins.
Good selections. Nico, if we didn't talk about offensive player, but he's going to get a zillion targets this year. That guy's going to go for like 1,800 yards. All right, JP, your award.
My award is the Sunday Ticket Team of the Year. This is a team where they're not going to get a lot of primetime games. You might not see a lot of them, but if you have Sunday Ticket, just turn them on. Turn on one of their games. They have a lot of young, fun players. They have a lot of really intriguing aspects to them. And that team is the Carolina Panthers. I think this team is going to be really fun to look out for this season. I think they have a young quarterback who you can really believe in. I think that's the biggest thing with Bryce Young. You can believe in a guy who's undersized, got benched, came back, played well. This receiving core is going to be really young. They have a first-round pick they're going to throw the ball to a lot. The defense is going to come along as this team grows. So you're going to get a lot of fun games out of this group. You're going to get a lot of times where, hey, the Panthers game is close heading into the fourth quarter. Let's see what they're up to. So I think Sunday Ticket Team of the Year, team that doesn't have a lot of primetime games, doesn't have a lot of national intrigue, I'd say it's Carolina Panthers.
We used to call these hanger games. When I was at Greenlight with my older brother Chris, he would call these hanger games because unless you're in the hangar, you probably didn't get an opportunity to see the game. But to your point, there's going to be a lot of good football played down there. They might not be a great team, but I love this pick. Panthers would be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I also said that the Dolphins are going to be very fun. I mean, they might be a little tragically fun this year, but they're going to be fun regardless because points will be scored. And I think the Raiders too, for similar reasons. They're obviously not a ton of primetime games, but they're in a division where I think they'll give Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers. They'll give them scares at least. They might not win any division games, but
Seahawks will be fun.
Yeah.
All right, what's your other award?
Speaking of the Seahawks, my award is Trash Talker of the Year, and this is going to Devin Witherspoon of the Seattle Seahawks. I actually think the Seahawks as a whole could be like the trash talking team of the year. This team just thrives off negativity. The defense thrives off negativity, and Devin Witherspoon is sort of the Captain Chaos of that group, where he's just going to do something crazy every game. And you always love like a team that talks an insane amount of shit and then can back it up. The Seahawks defense is going to be really good, and he is sort of the fulcrum of that secondary. So he's going to talk a lot of shit. I also thought about Greg Newsome for this award because he also talks a lot of shit. But Devin Witherspoon is going to be my trash talker of the year.
Wildcat. Kyle, who was the best trash talker you ever played against? Anyone ever get you? Anyone ever get you to respond and get a penalty from you?
Dude, I mean, I was called everything under the sun by Michael Bennett. Had I been wearing a wire that day, Michael Bennett would be in jail for 25 to life for the shit that he said to me. You know what? I heard so much stuff, and I was so out of shape and just winded that I couldn't say it back. I could just respond with my eyes in the moment, like how could you say that to me? Why would you say that? Just leave me alone. One guy that I remember that was this wasn't shit talk, but it was something that I'll never forget. I was blocking Frosty Rucker, 2014, and I had a dip in, and I didn't wear a mouth guard, and I'm blocking. We're running mid zone right. Boom, boom, boom. I'm straight arming him, trying to press him to the second level, and then he presses me, and then the whistle blows, and we press. I press. And then I said, "Oh, that's funny. You got to dip in too." I didn't realize he had to dip in as well. I saw that, and I was like, play's over. Let's try to make peace. He turns to me, looks me in the face, bang, just straight arms me in the face. I mean, punched me right in the face mask. And I was like, okay. So, I'm just not going to say anything to anybody. I'm just going to go play football. Shit talkers, they're everywhere, usually the smaller guys.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by Michael Bennett, I'll say.
Clay Matthews.
that one did not.
Clay Matthews, very good trash talker because surprise, surprise, he was in great shape. So he could run all day, and he
used to just like
guy.
He used to just be like a little dog where he'd just be barking literally the entire game, just saying anything that comes to mind.
Like,
him on mic'd up was incredible content because he just talking from the moment he got on the field to like his own team to everyone else. Just like guy could not.
Luke Kuechly talked some good stuff. That's probably like a sneaky trash talker, I would say. Luke Kuechly.
I mean, no one's got the track record though of CJ Gardner-Johnson. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And he's the fact that he was on a defense that could back it up last year and on another one this year in Houston. Like he's going to be pedal to the metal. Like that guy will not shut up in Houston. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another body.
They're going to try and recreate the Andre Johnson, Cortland Finnegan, but this time it is the Texans defender.
Oh my gosh.
Akeem Hicks used to just bark at the line of scrimmage. He would just he'd walk up and he was 6'6", 350, and he would just get up there, stick his chest out, put his hand on the ground, and just bark at the center.
That's terrifying.
Dude.
I think that would be scarier than anything that you can
in practice. You'd be in your stance. Like the center would be there getting ready to snap the ball, and Akeem would be at like the cock nose, and he would just reach up and grab the center's face mask during the cadence and like gently tug on it a little bit. I don't know how we got anything done in practice.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. All right, Kyle, what's your next award?
What do we got? This is the If I Could Go Back in Time award. Okay, I'm gonna bar Ben Johnson from the discussion, but if I were to go back in time and be a young man and be all pro, healthy, and explosive, what team would I want to be on? Which staff would I want to be under? What situation would I want to help? It's the New England Patriots. I love Mike Vrabel. I don't think I've ever met Mike Vrabel, but I love the man. And I feel like you can tell a lot about a man what they put on tape. And I love the way he played the game. I love the way that the teams he coached play the game. Their MO is toughness. The thing that I respect about him is he doesn't just lean on his expertise as a player. He understands the rules of the game like nobody's business, and he can play that chess match with the best of them. He's a regular Magnus von Magnuson or whatever the hell the guy's name is. The best chess player. You know what I'm talking about? They will win games because of his attention to detail as a head coach. He's not resting on his laurels. I feel like he's going to be one of the all-time greats when we're all said and done. And I think Drake May's that guy that he can ride. And look, Vrabel's awesome. I'd love to play for him. I'm interested to hear which coaches you guys would want to play for, whether it's from a scheme standpoint or a motivation standpoint.
I think Magnus Carlsen is where I think Magnus von Magnuson is a world's strongest man, or at least it sounds like a world's strongest man.
It also fits for Mike Vrabel.
Mariusz Pujanowski is my guy.
I'm trying to think of coaches. I mean, Pete Carroll, if we're talking about it's like how
that's a good one.
Room would be the most fun. Like and probably get the most out of me just knowing myself personally. I think Pete Carroll would be a great one.
I think mine would probably be Jim Harbaugh. I think Jim Harbaugh just knows how to get the most out of his players, and I think just being in that environment would be really good. I mean, we've seen what happened to Trey Lance. Like we saw that confidence go up. So I think Jim Harbaugh is my pick.
I just want to play catch with Jim Harbaugh.
Dude.
Yeah, I just want to play catch with him.
Damn it.
He's the best. Have you ever seen the clip of him on Judge Judy?
Oh, just smiling.
He's just like,
it's like his greatest moment.
He could not be more excited to see.
I gotta look at this picture again. Jim Harbaugh, Judge Judy.
Here, if you can find it.
I got
it. You got to put it up. Put it on the cam.
Oh, hold on.
I'll
pull it up on my phone then.
All right. I'll give my award, and then we can find Jim Harbaugh on Judge Judy. It is the best trade in NFL history award, and drum roll, it goes to Micah Parsons on the Green Bay Packers after they win the Super Bowl this year. It is going to be the best trade in NFL history. There he is. Oh, look at that. Dude,
that guy is beaming.
That's how he looks at Justin Herbert now.
That is the happiest he's ever been.
First time he saw Justin Herbert run naked right, and just like, he had the same face. You could just see he's happy to be there, man. His dad's there with him.
Yeah.
His dad's there with him. Oh, he's got it better than us.
All right, I just had to troll you, Kyle, with the Micah Parsons. You already
Yeah,
you gave him depoy, so I mean, I wasn't even willing to troll that hard, and you went ahead and out trolled me. I think that was mind games on your part.
We
You
like
just
to
wanted
do a
get out
little
ahead.
trolling. We like to do a little trolling.
Well, see, what I think we're doing now is we're speaking it into existence.
Yes,
We've said it so many times. This is kind of like a Beetlejuice situation, where if you say it enough times, it's gonna happen.
If we put Ricky Scoops, a seance for Ricky Scoops, he'll tweet it out.
That song. Damn.
All right, last award, and then we'll just touch on college football for a second. Annoying storyline of the year. We're all handing out one. JP, kick us off.
Anything Aaron Rodgers. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of everything Aaron Rodgers that doesn't have to do with football. Like, I'm enough of it. And I just know that he's going to say something incredibly stupid this year that has nothing to do with actual football being played. We've already got like him and like DK Metcalf at training camp is like, the toilet flush is loud or something. And it's just like, okay, man, enough. I'm tired of it. Just please go play football, because every time you say something dumb, that vision of Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers fades. It's like you lose memory of the past avatars.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I love every
Same.
other story that comes out is hilarious to me. I don't want to see him play football. I don't want to watch this guy play in the Steelers jersey. I didn't want to watch him play in the Jets jersey, but I want him to become like this almost caricature of a human being that he's become, because it just makes it like all the more ridiculous that this guy was once the most like ball machine quarterback of all time. It's just like, I think it's funny. I mean, again, I just don't want to see him play football is what I'm saying.
It's like Steven Seagal went from being like a legitimate martial artist and instructor, and now the version of Steven Seagal that we know and appreciate it's kind of a meme. But we're like, no, keep putting the Steven Seagal videos. I want the dojo shots. Like, give me the dojo shots on Aaron Rodgers.
More dojo shots. All right, Cal, what's yours?
Mine is tweets or posts from people saying that they don't care about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Look, I understand that it's probably not very high on your priority list day to day, but let's be honest. This is the closest thing that we have to, like, in terms of sports and pop culture. This is our royalty, right? I mean, I can't, Jay-Z, Beyonce has been a mainstay in the royalty, and I would just say welcome these guys in. And quite frankly, how about this? I don't care that you don't care. I don't care that you don't care. Okay. That's called the Uno reverse card. Okay, buddy. So look, it'll be fun. I think that they're going to do a better job not cramming it down your throats probably this year. I think so.
See, I don't mind the Taylor Swift stuff. I don't mind it at all. She's the biggest pop star in the world. Like, yeah, you're going to get inundated with someone that famous. I mind that we have to talk about Travis Kelce this much.
Wow. See, I think he has a great year this year.
With very, like, minimal impact on the game, and we get him shoved down our throats now. And he's always been kind of like, always been kind of like a grown soundbite kind of guy. Him after the Super Bowl singing Viva Las Vegas, it's always like, okay, we get it. And now we get, like, inundated with more Kelce content.
I think we should just let people enjoy things. This is fun. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I've never been someone who like cares about who they show like on the games, during the games, because I'm more focused on the actual game. And if you're so distracted by someone who is not actually playing the game that you're like, please take them off TV, your priorities are way like you're not a real hooper. You're not a real hooper.
What did MJ say? Stop it. Get some help.
Exactly.
All right, my annoying storyline. And it's kind of over. Not quite, unfortunately, with a few guys, but I think it's holdouts. I don't want to talk about. I don't care about pocket watching. Like, it doesn't bother me that guys want more money. It's just we talk about it too much for how much it's an actual story. Like, it's there's no stuff we can glean. The guy's on the sideline. He's not doing anything. I'd rather talk about.
We are still waiting.
Yes,
we are
that's
still waiting for the normal occurrences to occur in this National Football League calendar. Please stand by as there is no update.
Yeah, and I think the more we talk about it, the more we're turning off casual fans because, again, casual fans care about like actually, the game of football. And these guys are making so much more money than they ever have, and we have more holdouts than we've ever had. It's like it's almost counterintuitive. We had multiple guys still holding up, but 6 guys this training camp either holding out or holding in. And it's like for the average fan, they're like the difference between 40 and 45 million to them is like mind-bogglingly inconsequential that they're just like, damn, I don't want to hear about this.
I think I actually go the other way, specifically for Micah Parsons. I think he should ham this up. I think he should really make this uncomfortable.
Well, he is like a different case.
If you want, I think you should go blow for blow, go bar for bar with Jerry Jones. I think the first week of the season, they should show Micah Parsons in the stands at the game. He bought a ticket. It's like watching Sting in WCW at the top of the rafters.
Like Chris Jones.
Well, Chris Jones was,
They should pan out and just zoom. They should pan out and see Micah Parsons at the top of the stadium, like Sting watching the game. And I hope he just makes it so uncomfortable. I hope he does like what Jalen Ramsey did, drives in with a Brinks truck. I hope that he just makes it so uncomfortable on every podcast he's on. I just want this thing to go like full sports drama. Yes, I need the full Sting face paint.
or he tweets out a picture of him like George Pickens in front of the TV. He's at home in the ski mask watching the game. Those are his 2 options, but any in between, he's not going far enough. No, I agree that Parsons is the one that's interesting. The rest, I was like, the Trey Hendrickson one especially was just so boring. Just get something done.
Micah Parsons should go live on a stream playing Madden, but he should trade himself off of the Cowboys.
Yes. He's on the
a different team, and then play with that team. Like, just make it really uncomfy.
That's a great. We're Parsons. Hey, you need some ideas on how to really, really take this negotiation to the next level. We got you. All right, college football. Just get a little preview. What are we excited about? Who are we watching? Who we want to see the most? I know we're not all, we're more NFL over college, but obviously we're going to be tuning in. So what are we looking for, JP?
I'm not only looking for some of the big games, of course, but I'm actually kind of excited for I think it's a Friday game. Georgia Tech going to Colorado. The main reason I'm excited is because Buster Faulkner, incredible offensive coordinator, and Haynes King is the most college football quarterback of all time. He is going to do some insanely stupid shit. He's going to run the ball a lot. He will fall apart like a Lego character, but he is willing to die for that game.
Sounds like Buddy Lee. Remember Buddy Lee Jeans? Remember the character?
He is going to run the ball 30 times. He's going to fall apart. The game against Georgia last year, where he is basically like vomiting on the field, is incredible. I hope we get some more Haynes King stupid shit.
Georgia Tech has my wide receiver 3 too, Eric Rivers. Shout out. He's the most electric athlete at the receiver position in college football. So hopefully he has a big year.
Dave Portnoy works for another company who is employed by another company, and they do college football at that company. He is not allowed at the site of the game for the Ohio State game. Obviously, he's a Michigan man. I just thought that was interesting. I thought it was, they're like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen today. That's what I'm watching. I'm watching to see if they bring out the pitchforks and the torches in Columbus. You know what I'm saying?
I will be watching the quarterback battles. This quarterback class is sweet and a lot of unknowns. So we got Julian Sand of OSU. He's not technically in this class. He's sophomore, but against Arch Manning. And then we got Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik. And I will be serving my fantasy football punishment this weekend. It is, you have to go to a soccer bar. So like a bar that, opens at 7:30 on a Saturday to watch EPL. Soccer bar and stay till it closes. When it opens, stay till it closes. You get 30 minutes off for every beer you drink. So we'll see how late I'm there. I'm hoping to be out by dinner time, but I will be at a bar at 7:30 ready for college football. So
that sounds pretty awesome.
It would have been awesome a decade ago. Now it's like it is actually a punishment.
And you're saying they do have beer there?
They do. It's called the Pitch in Cincinnati. It's right next to the soccer stadium here in Cincinnati. I'm going to it because it's one of 2 bars that open at 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday.
I also wanted to shout out the Auburn Baylor game because Auburn has like 6 different NFL caliber receivers. Eric Singleton is super fun, Georgia Tech transfer. I think Cam Coleman, who is entering his sophomore year, is a monster of a player, like overshadowed by Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams, but Cam Coleman's right up there. Perry Thompson also really good. They just don't have a quarterback right now that can get them the ball. Hopefully Jackson Arnold is that guy. Hopefully Deuce Knight ends up being that guy, but those receivers are going to be really cool to watch.
If Arch Manning comes back in 2026 and we get the 2020 goes in the 2027 draft, it will be like 2021. It will be like 2011.
Absolutely loaded.
The top of that draft has some guys that Dylan Stewart, the defensive end from South Carolina, is like Myles Garrett. He's probably going to be the best prospect since Myles Garrett at defensive end.
Jeremiah Simmons at Texas.
Yes, Colin Simmons at Texas is going to be like a Von Miller sort of prospect. He's like an undersized, twitchy edge rusher. Jeremiah Smith, Coleman, Ryan Williams from Alabama. The receiver, you're going to have 3 receivers go top 10. I think you just pencil those guys in right now. So it is a stupidly dumb, loaded 2027 draft class. Obviously, we got to get through 2026 first, but yeah, there's a lot of talent in college football right now. Very excited. All right, there you have it. There's our show. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back Monday, break down maybe a little bit of college football, and then preview the week that is week 1. We're almost there, fellas. Until next time, keep pushing.